or it's preparing to go live. So give me a second here. It's been a wonderful day of conversation. So, all right.
Well, that interview was fantastic with Brandon. That was
Thanks.
great.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
It was. I'm trying to turn the volume down off of this so it's not replaying. It's been a wonderful day of conversation. So. That's not what I want. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Thanks. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Oh, so wait a minute.
That's good.
Does one of you guys have the volume on YouTube? Because mine is
Oh,
off.
me. I'm sorry. That's me.
Perfect. Good. Because I was
All right.
freaking out. I'm like, there's nothing I can do. on
Don't
my-
forget, Carrie, you can mute us all too.
Oh, that's right. I totally forget
If
that.
you start
So,
getting noises like that, you can just mute us all and then we can unmute
Okay.
ourselves when we want to talk.
okay. So I'm wondering, so let me, if I close out of this, if I'm in YouTube and I close out of it, is it going to still be streaming to YouTube if it's not on my computer? Do we know that?
We'll let you know.
Okay, because I'm going to close out because it's taking up bandwidth right now. So am I still on?
I didn't get a notification.
I believe
Just open up
Carrie,
the
that
channel.
just because if you close it on your camera, on your computer, if you're going through another service, it should keep it
Oh
going.
yeah, I see
as long as you stay on Zoom. Yeah.
Perfect. That's what I needed to know, because as long as I don't have another channel open, oh, I'm so excited. So, hey guys, if you guys are joining us on YouTube, welcome. We are going to be going through the second portion of Why Did Yeshua Speak in Parables? This is the first time that I've streamed it to YouTube at the same time. So if you're wanting to comment, you can comment. I do have somebody I think is going to be, my friend Greg, I think can, see if there's questions and comments going on in YouTube, but I don't have access to them. So I won't know if you say anything. So if you do say something and you have a question when we open it up for questions, I would ask that you please put everything in caps. They need to be all capitalized so that if Greg is monitoring it and there's a question, he will catch it out of the corner of his eye to see that there's a question being asked. Otherwise, feel free to comment in the comment section, and we're just going to have fun and be able to share today the parable of why Yeshua speaks in parables. And when you get done with this, if you haven't gone through the first portion, I totally suggest you to go see what last week's teaching was about that, because it was pretty phenomenal about what was being revealed in the sacred writings. So without further ado, I am going to do a screen share and we're going to go into the document itself. Give me a second here. I still have the document that I have pulled up with Brandon this morning. But I did set us up for this, and I'm really looking forward to this portion as well. And Renee, if I start saying fantastic and exciting are all those words that I constantly say all the time, maybe you could send me another word so I can use something different. You had all those wonderful synonyms, and I was like, I should have a little cheat note here so that I could go ahead and look at it.
I don't even remember them.
Oh, they were so good. They were so good. Oh, I get going and I talk and I just find and grab the easiest word. That's what I do. So what I'm going to do so that we have, and hopefully you guys are okay with this, I'm going to minimize us so that we don't have our picture on here while I'm sharing. Well, I don't know. I like it because I can see when you guys raise your hands and have questions. So I'll just figure it out. I can make this thing work. It just takes me a little bit of time to maneuver around, and as long as you guys are patient, we'll be good to go.
And you don't
Okay.
have to do it any bigger than it is. You can even shrink it a little if it helps. My screen is bigger on this laptop, so it should be good to
Oh,
shrink
that's
it a
good.
little.
Is everybody okay with seeing at the level that it is right now? Are we good? You guys can see pretty well? Okay. So the verse that we're going to be, now this is going to be the response that was given. Now I need to share this, and I shared this morning with Brendan because we can get really hung up on the narratives. When we are looking at the sacred writings and we're looking into the hidden, the deeper teachings that are given to the spiritually mature audience, if we connect ourselves to the narrative, we're going to miss what is being communicated to us. So my knee-jerk reaction would be, this is what Yeshua said to disciples, right? Because that's how we've read it. We're so used to narratives. This is what Yeshua said in reply to what the disciples were asking. But in reality, it was written this way to convey a message to us today. Does that make sense? So we have to separate ourselves from the narrative to get the deeper meaning of what is happening to us on the inside of what is trying to be conveyed. Because the external narrative is used for mother's teaching. But when we get into father's teaching and then we pull it on the inside, we have to take ourselves out of the narrative and see that it is information that is being presented without connecting an emotional response to it. Now, having said that, yes, I do cry because I see the beauty of it. And that is my emotional response. And it just, the tears flow. But I'm hoping that makes sense. To mother's teaching, the narrative exists. When we get into father's teaching, which is the inside work, we set the narrative aside so that we can then go into the internal work of what is needing to go within us without connecting it to an emotional response. Are you guys getting that? I'm hoping you are. Not if you are.
Something's rubbing on a microphone.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to mute him.
Uh,
I'm going to mute everybody right now. There we go. That's why I was saying, if you guys understand what I'm saying, please nod. So then I don't have to turn on everybody's microphones and whatnot. So the way we are going to be looking through this, perfect. Or the thumbs up, that works fine. I love that. So down on the bottom section, there's an area where you can, what is it? What does it say on there? I forget what it says on there, but you can share, you can put a thumbs up, you can put your hand up, you can do a little celebration, you can do
It
an applause.
says reactions.
There we go. So if you want to use the reaction button, I can see it. I don't think it translates on video, but I can see it, and then we can go from there. So if you're good to go with something, put a thumbs up. If it makes sense and you're connecting, or you can do what just Renee did. That's perfect. You can give me a thumbs up. And then that way we'll just keep going. That works. I'm happy with the thumbs up, guys. So let's go into this. So King James Version translated this verse to say, he answered and said to them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom. I got to move you guys out of the way of heaven, but to them it is not. So this is the second portion of answering why the parables. So when we start out, the very first thing that whenever I look at a verse, to let you guys know, I always look at the first word, because the first word is setting it up for what the rest of it's going to look like. The very first word always kind of sets the premise. And so what we see that was written is Hey Vav. Hey means revelation, Vav means to connect. So there's a revelation that is being given that you need to connect to. And it's translated as he, they, she, it is. So remember when I was sharing with you about us taking this as information, light is information, information is truth. Truth doesn't take sides, it just is. And we have that right here in part of the word translated. So this is revelation that just is, and we're being asked to connect to this revelation. So when we move into the next word, we actually have the word in Aramaic that means now. It also means but and yet, but it means now. There's two words. There's one for now that means hasha, or is the word hasha, and then the other one is deen. So when this was being written, they chose to use the word deen instead of hasha. And why is that? Because deen in the linear, in the divine masculine, means to judge. To judge by having power given to you. I've got the cursor on the yod. That yod is vision, and it means power. And it means power means in direction on the inside that has been given to you. So this has to do with the power on the inside to judge now. And what are we judging? We are going through the door of the inward man to receive the power to judge our fallen flesh. our fallen flesh. And hopefully you guys are connecting to that. Because when we get into the mature message, we are no longer concerned about the external orientation that is judging the good and the evil. We are now coming on the inside to deal with ourselves. That's what the mature message is. So, in other words, we're not having to discern on the outside of us of what is good and evil. We are now going on the inside to do the inside work, which would be the light and the dark, the revelation and the shadow of being able to render them clear. So hopefully you guys are connecting to that as well, as that this is what it is. So there's a revelation being given that we need to connect to, and it's meant for us to judge ourselves in our now by the power that's given to us on the inside. Through what? Through Source Creator. Because Source Creator is on the inside of us, and on the inside of every Hebrew word has to deal with your heart. So this is the place where we are judging the power, or from the power that is within us as Source Creator, ourselves. And why is that? And I've shared this on other videos, but it's good for inculcation. The concept of a judge, the Hebrew concept of a judge, is one who restores life. And so why is this important to us? Well, because when we entered into this incarnation, we entered into death. Our flesh suits have an expiration date on them. So we entered into death in order to find life. And that's why we do this internal judging, to be able to quicken us into finding Chava, the mother of all living, which is the divine feminine, which then brings life to us and restores us, humanity. So again, I'm talking some deeper narrative stuff that is outside of the narrative. I'm not talking about Adam as the man or Eve as the woman. I'm talking about Adam as the word for mankind, and Chava, which they translated as Eve, as the mother of all living that carries the divine feminine. Are you guys catching that? Okay. So this judging on the inside, is so that we can find life and be able to have life restored to us, because we entered in through the death position, and we have to find our way out of death position into life. And that's actually repeated over and over and over and over, to be able to see that when we find unconditional love is the way we get out of our own hell loops, meaning the place where we keep reincarnating to get answers to the questions because we haven't found the resolve yet, which is unconditional one, oneness, unity, Mashiach, Christ anointing. That's the resolve, because the Christ anointing is bringing back oneness, unity. And that's what we're searching for. So we come in, we forget, we don't know, we got spiritual gravity that's pulling us in a direction, and we keep entering into this death loop, this hell loop, Sheol, the place of inquiry, over and over again, until we find the resolve, which is the Mashiach, the Christ within us that is fully manifest through us. Hopefully you guys are connecting to that as well. Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you can see it and connect to it and realize that there's an actual roadmap to the process of doing this, that the literal word in the now moment is to go through the door of the inward man to get the power on the inside to deal with your fallen flesh. Flipping amazing. So again, connect to this revelation, you're going to need it. And so when we move into the next one, this word is so fascinating. Okay, fascinating. I said fascinating. You guys could actually have fun with me and see how many times I say fascinating and interesting while I'm teaching, so we can all laugh at me. I laugh at myself. It's all good. So this next word is translated as answer, or he answered. So I should have said this ahead of time. When you see words, and I see there's comments, I think, going on in the chat, and I can't see them, so I got to figure out how I can see them as well, because you guys are sharing stuff and I can't see them when I pull my thing aside. Hopefully it's all good. So when we are looking at these verses from now on, just to let you know, anything that is within the letters here in this section is going to be Janet Megira's translation. So what I have up here is John Etheridge's in green, and in purple is King James, But when we're looking at it, would be what would be considered the mechanical translation by Janet McGear's book. And I've shared with you guys before, her resources is what I use predominantly for the Aramaic. And there we go, Aramaic Peshitta, Janet McGear, Light of the Word Ministry. So that's the mechanical translation that we're looking at. Should have said at the beginning, I'm sorry I segued, but I just want you to know so we can follow through it from this point forward, so you'll know who this is translating it here. So she used the word he answered. And there are several things with this spelling of this word, and we need to be made aware of it because all of these definitions are contained within this Hebrew word. Again, English forces us to choose one because that's the way English works. But in Hebrew and Aramaic, these all consist within the frequency of these words in the vibratory nature of what's being presented to us. So it's way more information, which I know is mind-blowing because it just like blows up the text to so much more richness to see, because it is a language of duality and you're going to see both sides, because we need to know what is the same, right? They're the same thing. They are in the same tone, having opposite polarities. Does that make sense? So think of the keys on a piano, the same tone, but the frequency is opposing having the same tone. They're the same thing. They're just manifesting in a different form in the different poles of duality of the negative pole and the positive pole, but they're the same. It's a really hard concept to try to get across, but the more you get into this, the more you see it. For example, love and hate are the same thing. They are highly explosive emotions, both of them, meaning they take you out of your center. And I'm talking about conditioned love. I'm not talking about unconditional love, that's 0 point. I'm talking about falling in love. We all know what falling in love feels like. And it's just like, it's so overwhelming, but so is hate. They are both consuming in nature. Unconditional love renders both of them clear. But we have to see both of them to see that they are a consuming emotion on two different sides of the pole. Are you guys connecting with that? Okay, so now when we go into the words, we can be able to see that that's exactly what's going on here. So what is going on here on this one? This is so, I didn't say it, I just sighed. That's probably a better response. So
Don't worry about it.
Well, it's one of those, okay, so the reason why I'm worrying about it, it's one of my pet peeves that I see in other people. So it's my mirror that I'm catching myself in going, find a different word, Carrie, find a different word. You can find a different word. It's just me. I laugh at my shadow. I laugh at those things. It's all good. So Aramaic, another definition for these is answer, respond, hear, and listen. To hear and to listen. It's not just about the response. So this word is telling us that in the response and answering, there's a hearing and listening. So when you see this is coming from the place. Now, this is what's so fascinating about this. And I know this is why Brandon said Carrie goes letter by letter, because this is the minutia within it for us to help navigate, to understand what this is saying to us in the deeper. So if you are going to give a response and answer to somebody, then you better hear them and listen to them. And why? Because it gives you the eyes to see the spiritual nature within them, that we are all one. So if we're not hearing them and we're not listening to them, then we're not recognizing that we are all one. And therefore our response and our answer is going to be in a way that is not bringing oneness unity. Meet them where they are at, listen to what they have to say, and then respond to bring oneness unity, not division. That's what's in this word. And we don't see that because English forced it to just say answer. So this is letting us know it's important for us to listen to people before we give a response. Before we answer, listen. And again, everything in Hebrew and Aramaic concept has to do with the heart, not the head. Don't listen to them with your head, because this is where ego is at. And ego is always going to divide you. You listen at the heart level, because really what we're doing is we're trying to raise ourselves up to be teaching shepherds of light. That is what the language is all about. It's about us being able to embody the Christ anointing, the Mashiach, and be able to become it and be it. And so these are the instructions of how we manifest it and what that means. So if you want to walk around in the Christ anointing and you say that you have the Mashiach and you have Christ in you, and you are not listening to people and you're just choosing to give an answer without listening and connecting at the heart level, then your ego is doing it. That is not the Christ anointing. That's incredible to be able to see that here. It's like, wow. So that we have the eyes to see them as one. But then here's the other side of it. It also means to be occupied, to be busy, to give oneself, to be devoted to. So even within this, you can see that you can be devoted to something or be busy with something. They're really the same thing. But if you're being busy about doing something, are you devoted to it? Because if you're busy doing it, you're devoted to it. Is it bringing oneness, unity? Because really they're the same thing, but we're trying to bring it into oneness. So if you're being distracted by things that you're doing and you're being busy doing something, then you're devoted to it. But where is it at? Is it bringing oneness, unity? Is what you're doing bringing that forward? Because that's in here. And then also flock, small cattle, and sheep. So when we see words translated in English as flock, we know that it has to do with this word as well. So think of the flock of Jacob, right? We've read lots of things about the flock of Jacob, and it's within this. So now let's trace it back. What I just shared with you was all the spiral divine, the divine feminine aspect of it. So again, the divine feminine aspect is about bringing in oneness, unity. Where did it come from though? So let's look at the Hebrew. So amazing. So again, it's amazing, fascinating. It means to eye or to heed. And you can see it right there in the letter because we have the letter Ayin. The letter Ayin means the eye. So in Paleo Hebrew, if you were to draw it, it's literally an eye. So the Ayin is giving us the ability to see on the inside the fountain of the landscape, not only within, but without, to be able to eye or to heed, to pay attention. So there's still something here. Pay attention and then respond. Pay attention, then respond, then speak. And look at this. To sing, shout, testify, and announce. This is connected to being a witness who sees, who gives a testimony. What we are doing is that when we're seeing things and we're responding to them, our goal is to bring forth revelation as a witness and a testimony. This is the masculine side. And when we marry it to the feminine side, the revelation that we're revealing is oneness, unity. That's what our testimony is. And that really moves me because now we see, I love you, Paul. I just love you so much. Now we get to see what witness and a testimony really looks like and about how important it is for us to respond because we've heard and we've listened to that which we are speaking to. So if you're just speaking and you didn't listen to them, you're serving yourself. Yeah, you're just giving words. You're just serving yourself because did they even ask you a question? Did they even really want to know? Why are you going and talking to them and flapping your jaw about something about your spiritual experience unless they asked? Unless you're in a relationship with them that is like your spiritual mother or your spiritual father, or you have children and you're raising them up. But if you're meeting Joe Blow off the street and they don't know anything about you, then why are you preaching to them? Did you even listen to them? Did you even know where they're at? What are they saying? What are they not saying? Because we're supposed to be loving them and responding that would bring them into the oneness unity of that which we've experienced, because we're revealing that. That's what's so amazing is that hey, okay, that hey on this word is connected to Chava, to life, the mother of living. When the hay was removed from the garden, that's what we've been trying to find. Life was taken out of mankind, and we're trying to bring it back. So when we found it, what are we doing? We're revealing life, the Father's revelation, the inside. We're revealing it to them that we are all one. That's what we're revealing. So beautiful, like, wow. And it also means to be humbled and afflicted, occupied, busy, and to be depressed. Because really the root of depression is that because we are, go for it. The root of it is that we've been separated. Because when you have oneness unity and you found it on the inside, you have joy unspeakable. That's what scripture talks about, joy unspeakable. Because you know that you're one with the Creator, and nothing can separate you from that love, because you found it. You returned to your first love. You guys, you returned back to your first love. That changes that scripture too. That which we came from. So when we're separated and you see the absence of it and you feel it, it causes depression. But the beauty is what's the flip side of it? You're humbled, but then you have a response because you found oneness unity within you. And that is why you have the witness and the testimony of who you are, because you went from one who was afflicted in your separation, because it's the ego that afflicts you, guys. It's the ego that afflicts you. And you were able to dethrone it off the throne of your head, which is saying it's God over you. And you allowed the Christ, the Mashiach, to come up and seat itself upon the throne, which humbled us. And then that is what we're declaring. So incredibly beautiful. So when we move a little further, let's see what else is being said. So now we get into the word Amar. And this is used a lot. And, you know, because you'll say, speak, announce, affirm. It's used a lot in the scriptures. But there's some beautiful stuff. I get so moved. And I feel your guys' energy too. So it just is like a double whammy right now. Just got to get myself. Okay. So say, speak, announce, and affirm. So the word before was that we needed to listen, right? We needed to listen before we're declaring things. Then we get into the word Amar. So really what's amazing is in that word before, the response was really more of an internal, because it's spoken and it's spoken, but where is it spoken first? And in actuality, it's not from here, it's from here. So what we do is we position ourselves in our heart to respond out of our heart, because out of the mouth speaks living water. From the heart, out of the heart is what the mouth speaks. And so if we are going to be in a place where we're bringing light and love and oneness unity, then that means the things that we are speaking and declaring need to come from the place of the heart, because that's where living waters flow from, living waters. And it comes up through the heart chakra. So we're speaking truth. So when we get into this word, this is the actual coming forth out of our mouth. So it's like this internal dialogue that begins welling up before you actually declare it. And so what is it showing us right here? Well, it's showing that we've connected to Mother. We connected to the Mother of all living. We are of the living. We found Chava. We have that within us. We are manifesting it, but we are showing ourselves as being humble and teachable. So when you meet somebody, we meet in humility and teachability, because every single one of us has something we can learn from somebody else in any interaction that we have. I don't care who it is. You go to the gas station, you go to the grocery store, you go out to eat, it's your neighbor, it's your mother, it's your brother, your sister, your son, your daughter, father, mother. It does not matter. We all have something that we can learn from one another, but we have to start and present ourselves with the letter Vav, with the desire to want to connect. So we're coming as humble, teachable, wanting to connect. That is what it's sharing with us. So we start at the heart level, and then we present ourselves as wanting to connect with another, because that's what we're trying to do. We're wanting to bring oneness, unity, finding where we can connect with them in the moment instead of what divides us. Where can I come in agreement with you to say that I love you? And you experience it. And look at what part of this word means. So we have tell, speak, declare, to be called. To be called. Why is it? Because teaching shepherds, their whole goal is to call someone into oneness, unity, to call them forth. Because we need to see and hear them right where they are at, to call them forward and to call them up and out of their beast ego nature into the place where we can enter into oneness, unity. Because there's many people that don't feel that. There's many people that are feeling rejected. They have old wounds. And unless we can show them that they matter, that their voice matters, that they have a reason to be here, that we love them and we're part of family, then we're part of the problem. Because everyone matters. We are all one, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they hold the negative pole or the positive pole. We are still all one, and we all matter. Love wins. And it's interesting that it's an idiom that means the question is the answer. And this is what's so beautiful. Dang it. Here I go again. This is what's so beautiful about this. And this was something that I saw the other day, and I'm like, why didn't I see it back then? But again, as you spend more time in the letters, you get more light, and more light means more revelation, and it allows you to get to see more and more. So every time when I get into it, more is being revealed because of stewarding with what was already given to me and what I can give to you guys. So even while you guys are sitting with me and I'm showing you letter by letter, you're taking this in. You're hearing the letters, you're letting them speak to you, you're letting the light in because I'm showing them to you. You cannot help to have light being put in you because that's what the letters are. That's what they do. So you're getting it while I'm sharing it. So whether you choose to enter in and study it yourself and dig, you're doing it at the same time with me. I'm just sharing my revelation, but they're talking to you. Okay, I'm just a mouthpiece, but they're talking to you. So listen to them. Listen to what they are saying to you. I love you guys. I love all of your reactions. It's so awesome. So what I am seeing here, there's this hidden little nugget in here. The reason why the question is the answer is through the letters themselves. We're going to set the Vav aside for a moment because we already explained what the Vav is. But when we look at the root of the word itself, this is so amazing. Aleph Resh is a shortened word for the word that means light. It's Or. It means light. And what we have in the middle of it, instead of having the Vav that connects, the Vav is actually here. So if we had Ein, or if we had Aleph, Vav, Resh, it would be the word for light. So it is here. But there was another letter added, and it's the Mem. The Mem is added on the inside, which means waters, and it means chaos. So when we're speaking as light to the chaos that's in the inside of them. because they are light. They just still have chaos on the inside. And so we're coming as mother in humility, wanting to connect, seeing the chaos, but knowing that even though there's chaos, they are of the light and we are all one. And by recognizing that, here's the other part of it. We actually literally have the word for mother here. Is mother. And then we have the word, and if you've seen some of my teachings, you already know this, but I'm bringing it in for inculcation purposes. We have mar, memresh, which means bitterness. So when we come and we speak, we know that as coming as mother, that we're having to deal with their bitterness. And some of what we are sharing with them is going to be hard for them to comprehend because they are in bitterness, because they've drank the bitter water. They've believed the lies. But the job and the resolve is that when we come in humility and teachability, wanting to connect as those who are of oneness unity, we can bring forth living water to them to raise them up out of their poor and destitute state so that they too can become leaders. That is the resolve in this, because we see that they already are of the light, and we're going to help raise them, because the resh literally means poor and destitute, but it also means top, head, first fruits. It's both. We're poor and destitute because the ego tells us we're separate. We're poor and destitute because we listen to the beast ego that tells us things that aren't true. The beast ego is the liar from the beginning. And it is telling us things that are not true. So we come in and we bring the light to help them with their waters on the chaos, on the inside, the chaos waters that has caused them to be bitter, so that they can recognize and hear us, that we are bringing the answer, because they should be asking the questions. If we've become oneness unity, if we've become the Christ anointing, if the Mashiach has been activated in us, people are going to feel a frequency difference. We are the answer to their question because we became it. We went through the same process. And if you guys listened to what I released earlier about the name Yeshua, why it's different from the Old Testament to the New, I know Renee Gay did because she left me a message on it. You can see that even Yeshua's own walk, he had to have these revelations brought to him in order for him to manifest it and become the Christ. He wasn't born as Christ. He had to become it. He had to have the twin revelations brought to him just like we do. So if we want to be able to walk in the anointing, and if we are walking in the anointing, then we are the answer to their questions. And that's why they're coming to us. Hopefully you guys are connecting. I'm seeing some good reactions. I love it. Got other champagne bottles in the room. Woohoo! Let's do it. So then we move into the next word. See, I love how it all layers, right? I think you guys are seeing that. Because remember, the first word is, here's a revelation, connect to it. And now it's just layers. It's just a little bit built upon each other. That's why when I take a look at these verses, I can spend an hour to an hour and a half on one verse, because there's so many layers and so many beautiful treasures to see what it's speaking to us if we would just take the time to slow down. Not be in a hurry to try to get to the end of the verse so you can go to another verse. What is this one verse saying to you? Did you take what you needed, or did you just walk away in the table front because you're in a hurry? Because guaranteed, everything happens when we slow down. We were slowed down for a reason, you guys, so that we could slow down in what we're doing, so that we can learn what we need to learn instead of being in a hurry. That's why we're not light anymore. Slow down, stop and smell the roses, because there's a lot right here. And the people that deal with impatience, which is funny because that's one of my shadows, is impatience. Yet I've had to learn to slow down, because when I first started doing this, I just wanted to hurry up and eat the entire Bible. I missed a lot. So when we get into the next word, this is the standing lamed. And I'll try to slide my bar over here. So in the root, it's a standing lamed by itself, which is very rare. I mean, you see it in Aramaic a lot. You don't normally kind of see this stuff in Hebrew, but in Aramaic, the lamed is used a lot. And it says 2 and 4. So this is what they translated as, that it means 2 and 4. But oh, there's so much more. There always is. If we don't understand that this symbol has more meaning to it, if you've watched many teachings, again, this is inculcation. But again, I'm wanting this to get into you guys so that when you see a lamed standing here, you will know all of this extra information is in here. So I don't have to keep doing it. So that when you see a word and all of a sudden you see an added lamed added to it, you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I get this. I see what's being said here. So the lamed, for inculcation purposes, every Hebrew and Aramaic letter is spelled by other letters. I call them the constituent letters that come together to form the symbol. So all of their vibrational frequencies make up the one symbol. There's always collaboration in the language. So letters, because they are living entities of light and vibration, collaborate together to create the symbols that will cause movement to affect our reality, to create that which we see. It's the vibrational frequency of light that causes things to manifest in either standing waves, which aren't really standing because they're always vibrating and oscillating. Well, the language does the same thing. So it does it within us. So when we see a lamed, this is what's contained within it. The word means, so lamed, mem, dalet are the constituent letters that decide to collaborate with one another to create the symbol that I've highlighted here for you on the screen that I'm circling right here. Lamed, mem, dalet actually is a Hebrew word. And this is what it means, the rod of the teacher, authority. But it also has other meanings. It means to accustom, to learn, learned, studied, put together, compiled, brought together, connected, to teach, was trained, study, and knowledge. I highlighted the brought together because a teaching shepherd brings together and doesn't repel. A teaching shepherd gathers and doesn't scatter. And the base origin of this word is to learn, prick, sting, incite, and goad. So you think about a shepherd's staff, because that's really what it is. It's the shepherd's staff of authority. And if you've ever watched shepherds with sheep, you can see what they use with the shepherd crook and why they use the shepherd crook. And when you have unruly sheep, the shepherd crook has to be used for the unruly sheep versus the ones that are not. And there's a reason for that. Because some of us have the beast ego that needs to be kept in check. And some of us, when the beast ego isn't in check, we harm other people. And that's really because we're hurting and we're manifesting our hurt and hurting other people because we have so much pain on the inside because we haven't had someone stop to say, you matter and I love you. And you should have known this from the very beginning. And somewhere along the way, somebody failed to tell you that. And it hurt you, and you got rejected, and you got abandoned, and now you're acting out. And because you're acting out, the shepherd staff has to be used to help bring you in, to goad you and to sting you so that you can learn. And sometimes in this world, it's the prison system. And it's unfortunate that they don't really rehabilitate anybody in there because really they're there just to make money. They don't care about the inmates. They don't care about rehabilitating them. So that's why we have to do it. Somebody's got to take that mantle up, and the teaching shepherds will do it because that's who we are. Because it doesn't matter. We see them. We see the light in them. They have chaos in the inside, and that's okay because we did too. But we recognize the light that is in them so that we can raise them up. They don't have to stay being poor and destitute. They need to know who they are. So in this regard, what happened when it was written, so I just shared with you all about the standing lamed and what it means, but look how it was written. So it was penned to have hey vav noon on the suffix side. And this is a word that means riches, wealth, capital, and enough, to dare and to venture. I love that. Because to venture out into the new of the unknown, this hay is on the Father's side. This is the hay. This is the revelation of the hidden esoteric teachings that people are daring to venture into because of what it's revealing. Because what we find is it's the revealing of us, of who we are. And when we become it, we reveal that in somebody else. And this is the riches and the wealth and the capital that are kingdom oriented, that are everlasting, that moth and rust will not destroy. This is the transferring of wealth because we see it in one another. Now, do I think there might be something that manifests here in the system of duality when we're living in? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the treasure and the wealth and the riches in the people that I am talking to, the people that I am in relationship with, to see the light in them, to raise them up. That is the wealth and riches that I'm interested in. And I am willing and daring enough to go step into these dark places to make it happen, because I had to step into my own darkness first, because we all have it. And to say that you have no darkness in you, that's not really the truth. Because what you're doing is you're refusing to see the part of you that makes you who you are, and recognizing that that dark part of you is the best teacher you could ever have. We're not to run away from it. We're to embrace it and say, thank you. You've taught me much. Because it is you. It is part of you. I shared with Brandon the verse in Genesis 1:4 that said the Elohim were divided into light and dark. And if you guys haven't seen that yet, if you haven't seen my teaching on Genesis 1:4 or what I shared with Brandon this morning, we did go over that verse, and it shows that the Elohim were divided as light and dark. Yes. And it said that they were divided on the inside, and they were divided in light and dark. And because they were divided, it made them weak and feeble and lean, because we're trying to take the dark and the light together. And that is what this verse is saying. It's like we're joining them. We're bringing the light forward. We're seeing the chaos that's on the inside because they haven't brought it into oneness unity. When you have division on the inside, and you haven't been able to take the masculine and the feminine and join it together, when you haven't been able to see the light and the dark and bring it together into oneness unity, you are going to have confliction on the inside, and you're going to have nothing but waters of chaos on the inside of you. So let's be the resolve. Let's bring the revelation of who we are to them to reveal that which is in them. Because if you are projecting the revelation of the Christ anointing that you have within you on them, then you will see them that way. And you will see them in a different light. Or you will see them in a different light, because you will refuse to see that darkness in them, even if they're walking in darkness and ignorance. It's not their fault. Nobody came to taught them. Shoot, they probably didn't even realize they needed to ask questions because somebody said their life didn't matter, that it happened in the Big Bang. You are just a cosmic accident. Bull. You are not a cosmic accident. You are a beautiful treasure that is waiting to be revealed. That's who you are. And that's what we're revealing to them, so that they can connect to that side of them that has been hidden in their fallen flesh suit, so that they can find the wealth and riches that they have on the inside. That's the whole point of instruction. That's the whole point of these deeper revelations and this esoteric teaching, is to go deeper. Let's get off the freaking milk. Let's get off of Mother's teaching. We should all be the bride by now. We should all be able to handle how to treat our neighbor as ourselves and to love them without bringing harm to them. If you're bringing harm to them, that means you're still a child. You're still a suckling. You're still on the mother's milk, and you are doing evil because you are bringing harm upon yourself by hurting your neighbor. You are hurting your brothers and sisters because nobody has taught you, and you've never matured, because perfected love is matured love. And that's what we need. We need mature love in this world. We don't need the immature love with conditions. We've had enough of that. We can see it's not sustainable. It's not working. I'm going to love you if you look like me. I'm going to love you if you follow my rules. I'm going to love you if you go to my church because you believe the same thing. But if you're in that church that's down the street, you don't believe the same thing, I can't love you. That is all ego. That is all ego. That is afraid of something that is different. And if you have not found oneness unity in you, you're going to stay afraid of everything that is different from what your ego says is acceptable. And that is why it is God over you. And we need to be God over ourselves in the Mashiach anointing so that we can see the oneness in us, so we can begin seeing the church down the street as our friend and not our enemy. We're all walking in ignorance. We all have been walking there. And here's the so amazingly beautiful, wonderful, incredible, brilliant truth. Because we have these experiences, because we've been in gross darkness before, we now have greater compassion for those who are still there. Because they don't have to stay there. And how will they know who we are? For our love for one another. And that word one another, just to let you guys know, means echad. Echad is spelled aleph het dalet, oneness. We were once separated, but we went through the door on the inside and we became unified. Echad. That's what oneness means. So when it says we have our love for one another, we found it within us first. And that's why it's manifesting on the outside. That's why they're going to know us, is because we found it in here. We were separated from it. We came into it. We went through the door on the inside and we unified everything on the inside, because echad means unified. If you are walking as echad, you have unified yourself on the inside. You are now of the living. You're not walking in death. You found life. Because the letter chet, which is in the center of the aleph and the dalet, is you found life on the inside in your heart, because you are no longer separated. You found life. You found the mother of all living. You become it. The mother of all living is those who are in the Mashiach oneness Christ anointing. And then what do? We become mothers to the rest of the world, bringing compassion. Then we get to the next word. 2 and 4. 2 and 4. But again, there's so much more. There always is. I say that all the time too. There's so much more. Oh, but there's so much more. I feel like an infomercial. I'm not selling you anything. I'm just sharing the truth. What you do with it is up to you. It's another standing lamed. It's another standing lamed. Sorry. But look how it was written this time. This is what's so beautiful, that you do not see in the English. It doesn't translate. It's the same root, you guys. It's the same exact root. This time, the first one had the lamed by itself added with the hun, the riches and the glory and the wealth, daring and venturing into the esoteric teachings to reveal life. Then it's written this way. It has a door on the front of it. And then it's written as kuf vav nun on the suffix side. So what happened? Well, this instruction, the next word is saying, okay, so you have the instruction of this revelation that you need to connect to, which will bring meekness while you're in your fallen flesh. For those who would dare to venture into the esoteric deep teachings, this is where you're going to find the wealth and riches of who you are. So then the next word tells you, oh, by the way, you need to go in the door. You need to go inside. And there's a dagesh. There's that little dot in there. That means you've been pierced. In the inside of the dalet means you've been pierced on the inside of you. Now, I have had people take this out of context. And I don't mean anything sexual about this, whatsoever. But there's even a Greek word, sperma, where we get the word sperm from. When we are pierced, there is a new seed that is being placed within us. I'm talking spiritual here, you guys. I am not talking physical. Okay, I find that I was thinking about physical and that I was talking about what do you call them? Well, it doesn't matter what they were saying. They were twisting what I was saying. This is a spiritual sperma, spiritual seed that has been planted into you to change you on the inside, to make you a new creation. That's what that piercing is all about. We have to have our heart pierced. If our heart is not pierced, then we're stopping the energy flow that's supposed to happen in our chakra, our heart chakra. Our toroidal field is not activating, which means that we are not generating the life-sustaining light that is necessary for us. And we're going to have to consume the light from somebody else because we're not generating our own light. And that's what this is talking about. Go on the inside so that your heart can be pierced, so that you can begin generating light through the teachings instructions that come from the letters of light in order to do what? And this is why this word is written the way it is. The first two letters, dal, means dangling. There's something dangling that needs to be connected to. It means that you're weak and thin, you're needy and poor, and you are weaker. And we were already sharing with you the whole reason why that all is, because the ego tells us are separate. If you haven't connected to your heart, you're not having the energy flow, you're needy and poor, you're going to be taking light from somebody else. But the resolve always, always, always comes from the letters. If you don't see the letters, you never see the resolve, because I don't know about you, I want results. I want resolve. I don't want problems. I want solutions. I want to know how to activate this so I can deal with my weak and needy and poor state so that I can be the resolve. So I can be the resolve to the problem, because we are the problem. Us as Elohim, we've created our problems. Now we need to clean it up, and it happens by us doing it one at a time. Man, I feel like I'm preaching today, and I don't mean to. I feel like I'm shouting. I don't really want to be that way. I'm just really passionate about this because it's like, I know I don't need to shout it. You guys know this. But sometimes I feel urgency in what I'm sharing. It's like, oh, can we just get there yet? You know, can we just get there? Can we all just get along and just love one another? And so when you hear me get this passionate, it's because that's the part of me is like, oh, my heart is longing for this. I want this more than anything. I want this more than the air that I breathe, more than the food that I eat, more than anything in this. I want oneness, unity, because my heart is crying out for it and I see it and I want to manifest it. So I need to see the result. So when I'm saying this and speaking passionately, I'm talking to myself here. I am like, it is all the fingers are pointing back at me. Carrie, what are you doing? Are you doing this? Have you entered into the door? Are you willing to face your shadow? Have you done your shadow work? Have you allowed the piercing to happen? Did you allow the new seed, the new spirit to come in you to instruct you? Did you allow it on the inside? Because if you didn't, then you shouldn't be talking it. You shouldn't be declaring it, because it's just a hollow message. You're just up there spouting off words and you haven't become it yourself, because that's not going to produce change. That's an empty message unless you become it. So the resolve on this, go on the inside, get the instruction that's necessary for you to go on the inside so that you can, here's now the suffix added on the father's side. So through the teaching that is being revealed to you, the hidden esoteric, what does this allow you to do? To be established and firm. To be made straight, to be put right, to be straightened as was directed. So if we want to be those who are firm and are fully established, then we must go through the process of that which we are wanting to bring other people into. It's necessary. If you're not willing to face your shadow side and to go into the dark, to be instructed to bring your light into it, don't expect that you're going to be able to do it to somebody else, because you're just going to stay in that dangling, weak or thin position. And the people that you're speaking to are going to know it, because they're going to feel it. Because it's only when we come from the place of being set up and established as being firm that our throat chakra is then activated. And we're coming from the place of our heart, speaking truth as is, because there's only one truth. We are all one. That is the only truth that matters. That's it. Because when you find it and you stand upon it, when you stand upon Shua, which from what I shared this morning, you are now standing on the rock because you went through the fire. It connected in your heart. You have the eyes to see. And now you can come and help to those who are calling out for it. And you can call them forward into it because you became it. And so now as this is finishing up, I love the language. I get so excited. It's like, so now I know, right? So now that you're firmly established, you've been straightened, you're not walking the crooked path anymore. You're straight as an arrow. It's saying one more time, hey, well, it's the letter, hey. Hey, by the way, this is revelation, connect to it. So it started, hey, there's a revelation, connect to it. Then it goes through this whole process and then it says it one more time. Reveal this so others can connect to it. It has to be revealed to you first and you connect to it. You go through the process. Now you reveal it so they can connect to it. And then we finish with the last word, Yahav, to give. To give. I'm going to take a little bit of time on this word because there's so many little nuggets in this that it stirred me when I was doing this. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so incredibly amazing to see. And it'll probably bring me tears again. I know, Carrie's crying again. Give her a box of Kleenex for crying out loud. It means not only to give back. To give back. So when you have a teaching shepherd that comes and teaches you the way and you become it, you are giving back that which was given to you. Wow. Wow. Grant, allow, put in place and set. So when you're, I know, boom, I'm giving you a knuckle bump right here too. If I could do it, we could both connect and boom, this is it. So the process of this, and here's the nuggets. Okay, so before I go into the nuggets, let's take a look at it. So this word is a Hebrew idiom. And an idiom, and I've shared it before, and if you guys didn't see it, then we understand it. It's a group of words established by usage having a meaning not deducible by those of the individual words. So the examples, raining cats and dogs, or to see the light. So Hebrew idioms that are used are in context of things that people would understand based upon where they were at of what it was being conveyed as a message. So the idiom of this word means fruit. You're yielding, producing, and bearing fruit. Yielding, producing, and bearing fruit. This word, it's the idiom that is not. So if you have gotten to this place and you are giving back and you are allowing and you are not dividing and you are bringing forth these revelations and you are producing fruit, here you go. That's what this word is all about. And this does not get translated into English to say that this word, in the process of everything they went to, there's a revelation, connect to it, become it so you can reveal it so somebody can connect to it, because by the time you get here, you should be producing fruit. And what are you giving back? You're giving your fruit because you became it. There is no other greater joy than for the Creator, us, in our fractals. I know, I love that. You can keep posting those little notes like that. I love it. I love it because I'm not seeing the comments that are being made. And so if you do a paper comment, I love it. Keep doing it. So when we are producing fruit, us as creators in our own creation, our higher self is seeing us produce fruit while we are in here because we're connecting and we're bringing it together. And this is what's so amazing. I get so emotional on this stuff. Sometimes I wish I didn't cry so much, but I get so moved because it's so beautiful to see what's being communicated to us. And it just wrecks me all the time. It's like, no wonder why my heart just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's just like the tears are like a pressure relief valve, because if I didn't have the pressure relief valve, my heart would explode and I still need it. So the tears come to release the pressure, and it's good tears. I want to keep my heart a little longer. I still have work to do. This vessel is not done yet. So we're producing fruit Now, when we take a look into the hidden nuggets of this word that don't translate out, it's interesting to see that it could have been written two different ways. It could have been written using the Yahav, or it could have been written using the Natan, but it wasn't used as Natan. And we've shared that word before, and I don't expect you to remember it now. Just know that there were two words that could have been used, and it was specifically penned using this word. And why? That's what we always should ask. Why? Why was this word used instead of the other word? And this will make a lot of sense to you. I know it will. I know you guys will connect with this. Because if you don't, then that means I haven't done a good enough job explaining it. And you can scratch your head and go, got to go a little deeper on that because I'm not connecting. So hopefully I'll be able to get this across to you. So this word is not in its static form, because if it was in its static form, we would see Yod Hey Bet, but we see Yod Hey Yod Bet. And it's because there's something deeper written in here that we need to connect to. First of all, we have a Yod that's been added on the inside. And we know that this is power, and this is from the place of Source Creator. So we've got Mother and Father, we've got Yeshua and Sophia, and then we have Source Creator on the inside. We have three that are affecting us in our maturation, which is beautiful. We have three times the help. Mother, Father, Source, all helping us in our maturation, because we're triune beings, right? We're body, soul, and spirit, and they're all affected through the three different parts of Mother, Father, and Source. That's why we're triune beings. That's why in the Law of One, it says that we're complex, spirit, mind, body, complex. That's the way the Law of One writes it. Spirit, mind, body, complex. And when it was asked of Ra, why? Is because you're complex. You're complex beings, because you're separated in three parts in one body. Well, I'm adding emphasis on it. Ra didn't say it that way. I'm saying that was how it was explained, is you're complex beings because you've been separated into three parts. So we needed three times the help. We needed Mother, Father, and Source to help us put our pieces back together again, because we were split out in three pieces as triune beings, and we're coming back into one. So on this, the power was given to us on the inside. That's why the Yod is moved. It's the power of Creator that has been given to us, because it means the open hand to give, but it also means power, means, and direction. So when you have the power, means, and direction on the inside from Source, then you automatically give back. You give, because that nature is already within you. It's the power to give. And what are we giving? This is, I'm so excited. What are we giving? Is we're giving Mother. Yod Hey is the first two letters of the Tetragrammaton. Yod Hey, we're giving Mother to you. We are presenting a vision to you that is going to reveal a second vision that you're going to need for the inside of you. Do you guys connect to that? We present a vision that is a revelation of the second vision that they need. Two visions. So this is connected to the covenant of the pieces. That is connected to the covenants of promise. Because the covenant of promise is that we would be restored back into oneness, unity. But we were divided, and we had to walk through the living waters that were divided. Think of walking through the Red Sea, Mother and Father that were divided to get into the promised land. And the promised land is not a piece of real estate in the Middle East. The promised land is elevated conscious in oneness, unity, activating as the Mashiach, as the Christ anointing. But Mother and Father had to divide themselves because we were divided as complex beings. We had to have all these separate parts in order to bring us together. So we have the Mother's vision that then is revealing the Father's division that is meant for you on the inside, so that you can manifest, give back, grant, allow, produce fruit, and be able to bring it to the rest of the world. But yet there's more. There's one more thing that's in here that I find is so fascinating. And when I was sharing with you that I wanted to share with you and I started crying, it's because I needed to share all these other pieces before I land the plane on this. And this is so fantastic. And I know you guys don't know this because you haven't been in the language long enough for me. So I have to be able to share this little nugget with you. And this is the beauty of diving in and having years of being able to see the way the language moves. Yod, hey, yod. Many times you will see, I think you guys heard me use the word haya before. And haya is hey, yod, hey. And haya is the root of the word. It's where we get the tetragrammaton from. In the base root, it's a revelation that has power, that has revelation. So it's twin revelations that are meant to give you power. And when you look at it in the root of it means to be, to become, and to come to pass. And it is literally the root of the word I am. The only difference is the aleph has been added in front of it. I am one. I will become. I will be as I am. So why this is so fantastic to me and why I got so emotionally moved is many times Haya is written in this form. This is the reverse of the letters, which means the revelations have been given power to give to you so that you can become and be and come to pass as I am. This is what has been given to us. And this is code right here saying that these revelations are powerful revelations that are the same revelation. They've been divided so that you can become it. So you can become. This is the power for you to become. You don't have to stay where you're at. You don't have to stay in ignorance. You don't have to stay in a place where you have no direction and you don't know what you're doing. You don't know where you're going and you're not able to stand firm and you're not producing fruit. It has come to give it to you because the power is right here and the teaching shepherds are bringing it to you. If you would present yourself and be in a place where you are humble and teachable so that they can come and present it, so that you don't have to stay in your poor and destitute place. That is why this word was written in this form and not in Natan. So when it was written in the form that Yod, Hey, Yod would be in there so that the person who was reading it would know that it was connected to the word Haya, which is the root of Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. And who is it? It's Yeshua that's speaking. And I know I said divorce it from the narrative, but it was written to convey a message of what Yeshua was saying in bringing the fire of connecting the Yod He and the Vav He so that we can become in the likeness of the image of the one who came before to give it to us so we can build it on the inside out and be just like him. It's my honor to share these things with you because the teaching shepherd of light came to me first to teach it to me. And I've spent 5 years in the wilderness putting this together so I could share it with you. Because it's time, right back at you. Right back at you. It's time that this message goes forth. And there's lots and lots of zeal and passion that's behind it. Because it's time for us to recognize this and raise ourselves up out of our poor and destitute position so that we can be the light to the world. We need to get rid of the chaos on the inside so that what can manifest is the light that comes through us. So that when people come into our frequency and our environment, they feel the light and they feel the love. They don't feel condemnation. They don't feel separation. They don't feel division. They feel the welcome nature of that which Yeshua embodied. And why do you think that the masses came to him? Because he became the message. He was the message. And he had to show us how to do it first. No, he didn't come to be worshiped. No, he didn't want followers. He didn't want people just following him to and fro. He wanted them to become the message. But what happens is you will find out of those who want to become the message versus those who just want to follow the messenger. And that is why Yeshua had to leave, because he saw too many people following him as the messenger instead of being the message. And that's why we get to do the greater things, because I don't want followers. I really don't. I mean, I'm blessed that I see YouTube numbers go up. I think that's amazing because people are hearing the frequency of the language and they're being drawn to it. It's not me. I'm just like one of you. I mean, my goodness, I put my pants on one leg at a time and I do all the things that our bodies do, you know, brush my teeth, I eat food, all the other things that the body does that I just get annoyed with. You know, I'm just like one of you. All I am doing is sharing what the letters are saying. The letters are the teaching shepherds. I'm just a mouth that's speaking it. That's all I am. I am not any different than you guys. It's just what was given to me to be able to bring forward to you so that the letters can teach you. That's it. And then we become the message and then we walk it out, because eventually we're not going to need the language. The language is just a roadmap. And you guys already know that. You guys are already having these spirit revelations. You already know it innately because we were born with it. We're manifesting it. That's what we're doing. The only thing that the letters do is it helps refine us, and it helps us to be able to see, how do we present ourselves? How do we bring this message to the people? Well, it tells you, be humble, be teachable, do what you need to, bring correction when it needs to. When you're mother and you're dealing with the beast ego nature, love them, then bring them into the hidden stuff when they're ready. So really, the whole language is about the refining process of the teaching shepherds, because that's what we're supposed to be doing in our maturation. And I love the law of one material, because the law of one material, the beauty of it, it says there's the concept of learn, teach, learn. And it's not separated. It's learn, teach, learn. And when you hear Ra in the writings, when they talk about it, it's the same thing. So when you learn something, you teach it. But as you teach it, you're really cementing what you learned. It's like it's a beautiful cycle. So as you learn something, go and teach it, because as you teach it, you're learning it. And then as you learn it, you go teach it, and then you teach it and you learn it. Because that's the only way. Because if we don't become it, then there's no authority for us to teach it. So where I have the most difficulty, and I'm going to be very open and transparent with you guys, because really, I think that's where we should all be, is open and transparent, because we all have struggles. I'm not going to say that I don't have struggles, and I'm not going to say that I don't have issues, and I'm not going to say that I don't trip up over myself, because I do all the time. So where I get tripped up in when I share is when I have people come to me and say that they want to be able to speak it without putting in the work. They want to have the revelation and they want to bring it forward, but they don't actually want to put in the work. It took me 5 years. I'm not saying it's going to take you 5 years. It took me 5 years to get where I'm at, because I had to have the letters teach me. I didn't have a teaching shepherd. I had someone in my life show me that the letters were moving and that they had meanings. And that's as far as it went. There was much chaos in that person's life, but what they did is they provoked me, and then the spirit took over from that point. So Ken and I had to wrestle this by ourselves in the wilderness, letting the spirit and the letters themselves teach us, completely shielded away from the rest of the world, not on Facebook, away from family, away from friends, in a community that is not convenient. I am 45 minutes away from even good grocery shopping, people. There's a little grocery store in this town, but it doesn't have any organic stuff. Are you kidding me? Well, it has organic canned goods, but no organic fresh vegetables. And I'm convinced I need to eat organically. That's just me. I don't want pesticides in my body. So I'm in the middle of the town that has no distractions. There's nothing here, and it's barely hanging on after the pandemic. After that, there's businesses that have shut down in our little town of 1,400 people. So there's even less distractions. But the Father had to bring us into the wilderness of the people to be able to be instructed in a place that had no distractions, so that we could be able to present this to you now. Because unless we had gone through our walk of fire in the wilderness, dealing with our own ego and our own junk and our own shadow work, and until we became whole and healed within ourselves, we had no business speaking about this language. We had no business sharing this. And oh, I tried, by the way, I tried and failed miserably because I wasn't healed yet. And it backfired on me because I wasn't healed yet. So through experience, I've understood now the importance of letting the healing and the wholeness come within oneness unity on the inside so that you can speak forth and people can listen and hear your words, because it's not coming from a place of brokenness. It's coming from the place of being whole. And the beauty of that is in Hebrew, the word whole is kaf lamed. It's grasping a hold of the instructions that bring wholeness to you. And then when you translate that out to Aramaic, it means the bride who has been crowned. Same letters, masculine and feminine. So through the instruction and grasping the hold of that, you are the bride who receives the crown, who is now whole and healed. That's incredible. And that stuff doesn't get translated out in English. And that's why I'm such a geek when it comes into the languages, because of all the beautiful nuggets that are in there that are just waiting to be discovered. It literally is like this beautiful gift that I get to unwrap every day. It's like, woohoo, it's Christmas every day. That's awesome. Now, I know some people have issues with Christmas and think it's pagan. I don't care about that. I'm saying it's a gift that keeps giving every single day when I open up my books and I start digging word by word, letter by letter, and I cry and I sob and I have wonderful information to meditate upon. That has changed me. I no longer have dissociative identity disorder. I am healed and whole. I don't have multiple egos running my life. I am single. I am one. I am healed. I am whole. I know. I love it. I love sharing it. And I'm going to share it boldly with you guys because I was a hot mess, man. I was a mess. I was a big fat mess and I didn't even realize it. And I don't have complex post-traumatic stress disorder that would shut me down all the time. Are you kidding me? You look at me the wrong way and I would trigger. You said the wrong word to me, I would trigger and I would have no idea, but I would be a mess. And I have been healed because of this. And why? Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad there's 16 in YouTube chat. Hey guys in YouTube, I love you. I'm glad that you're listening. I allowed the letters of light and love into my life and they did the work. I had to be willing to partner and collaborate with them though. I had to allow their light to come into my darkness in order to reveal the treasure of this vessel in all of its rawness and all of its beauty, in the light and in the dark, so that I could bring it into wholeness and healing within myself. And that is what I desire for everyone else. That is what I am desiring for the rest of the world. But we need to be raised up. So those of you who are here, those of you who are drawn, I honestly believe there's a reason why you're here and that you're being drawn, because the language is calling to you, because it's all spirit. And it's saying, come, I'm calling you. Remember the word, Amar? I'm calling you. You have been called because you have a message and you have a voice that needs to be heard because you've been raised up. Because it's meant to draw us into the Christ anointing and then manifest it out to the rest of the world that desperately needs it. They're crying out, which is the name. So part of the name of Yeshua, the part of the Shua part, the part of the rock is also, there's a cry. There's a cry that is going forth and has been going out, and it's waiting for a response for those who would come with the power that was given to them because they have the heart to give, because they are teaching shepherds that want to give. They don't want to take. There's nothing I want to take from anybody. I found everything I need. I don't need anything from you. I'm not lacking because I found it in here. Everything that I need. Do I need a hug sometimes? I go within for it. Do I need some spiritual food? Is my ego getting out of control? I go within. I find center, oneness. I connect with source, creator, and all is well. Does somebody tick me off? Well, I go within and I realize the reason why they tick me off is because I feel separated from them and I want unity. so I can have compassion for them and can have compassion for myself. Changes the whole ball game, changes it completely and radically so that every contact with every person you have is an opportunity for a miracle to happen. And the miracle is oneness unity. That's the miracle. Because everything in this world is trying to drive us apart. We become the miracle, and then we bring the miracle forth. It doesn't have to be legs growing out. It doesn't have to be about getting out of the wheelchair, because that's all temporary. That's all the physical flesh. What I'm talking about is the miracles that are eternal, that will not change, because this body will dissolve away. The worms will eat it when it's in the ground. I am talking about the stuff that unites us together in oneness unity. That's the miracle, because duality in the system we were in will never allow it to happen. It's supposed to be opposition, but we are to rise above it and be the miracle and show people that it is possible for us to become one. But we have to find it within first. And that's what the languages help us do. It's a roadmap. You see inklings of it. You see images of it sporadically through the English Bible. So I'm not saying that it doesn't have it, because it is there. And if you have the eyes to see it, you're going to totally see it. And then when you get connected to this and you go back into the English version, you're going to see the English version in a completely different light. And then you can do things like some of us that I've been seeing that are posting amazing things, taking an English verse and going, this is what it means to me now, because I've had my mind renewed, right? Because now I'm thinking from my heart. I'm not thinking through ego. I'm not thinking through fear and separation. I'm thinking through love, because my heart's been activated. So everything that I see in the scriptures is all about love. So this verse, it's all about love. Oh, by the way, this verse is all about love. Oh, by the way, this is about oneness unity. And I know you can't see it because you're seeing it through reflection of the chaotic waters that are in you. But because I was able to find shalom on the inside, now I see it completely different. And I'm drawing you into that water because that water is good. That water doesn't have chaos in anymore because it is shalom. By the way, exactly. I like swimming in the calm waters, not the chaotic waters, because I spent most of my life in the chaotic waters and it was hell because I didn't have answers. And sometimes I didn't even know to ask the questions to get me there. One more thing I want to share, and then I'm opening it up because I'm like done. I'm off my soapbox. But I wanted to share with you guys about the word shalom, because there's something that recently has transpired within the ability to share with you some of these things. And I've really been fascinated with the center of each word. And that's why I was sharing, even like Renee, when we were talking, and in some of the things about the sheen that was in Yod He Vav He, right? The Yod He Sheen Vav He, that it was in the center of the word, and that the center of the word is always your heart. Because, and I've shared this again, but I want to share it one more time to really drive this home, because this was something new for me that just wrecked me. The word heart in Hebrew is lamed bet. And lamed bet, when you look in the definition of it, means the center of anything, or the center of everything. So that means the center of the language too. If it's the center of anything and everything, then it would be the center of the Hebrew words. And it's connected to your heart. So the word shalom, oh, this is so good. I'm going to cry again, because this is something I saw this morning. So the root of the word is shalom, and it means to be completed. And it means to be safe in mind, body, and estate. It means to be friendly, and it means to reciprocate. Those are just the basic definitions of the root word, okay? But there's something really brilliant on the inside of this. And so when we can connect in our heart, and I was able to see this, it wrecked me. Because it's the word Shem that has a lamed on the inside. Shem, if you have any idea of, like, even within the Hebrew roots movement, they call God Hashem, the name, because they don't want to say the sacred name, right? Because they're trying to take it away so that you don't see it, because they want to hoard it to themselves. But Yahuwah activates light within us. So they'll say it to try to protect it because of their fence laws called the Talmud. They'll say a different word, or they'll write God as G-D, right? Because of their fence laws, even though we're supposed to declare the name because it activates light within us. So the name Shem, or the word that means Shem, and I've shared this before, it's fire and water, right? Because the Sheen is connected to fire and the Mem is connected to water. But it means to be of honor, character, honor, authority, and character as having a mark of distinction. So I want you to connect to that. So what we see is we see the word Shem. Someone has that honor, authority, and character that has the Lamed on the inside. They have been instructed on the inside. They went through the fire and they went through the water and they completed their journey. They are now safe in mind, body, and state. They now have honor, authority, and character because they allowed the teaching shepherd to come and teach them on the inside. Then it becomes shalom. Now we have the Vav, which means the teachings connected to their heart. And now they are peace. That is the fullness of shalom. We must allow the teachings to come to us on the inside and instruct us in our heart. A teaching shepherd should always drive you to your heart, always telling you to go on the inside, to get out of your head, get out of your head, get out of your head and into your heart, because that's where the answers come. That's where the resolve comes. That's where gratitude and forgiveness take root within us. That is where we find unconditional love and manifest it out so that we can have peace and manifest it in our world. Because until we have that within, we are going to see nothing but chaos on the outside. And if we're looking to our leaders in the world through politics or through ego to come and solve it, you can just forget it. It is not going to happen. It is meant to be futile to drive you inward to find the resolve. It's all a catalyst. The system of duality is a catalyst for you to go on the inside going, this is nothing but chaos and it sucks and I hate it. Something's got to change. Well, yeah, you do. You need to change. We created the mess. We created everything in it, and it's time for us to fix it. So we need to fix ourselves on the inside because we're broken. That's right. That's right, Paul. That's right. Absolutely. So I'm done. I'm done. I want to have conversations with you guys now, share what your thoughts are. Like I said, I'm off my soapbox. I'm good. I want to open it up. So you guys can go ahead and take off your mutes. You're welcome. I appreciate that. Big heart.
Harry,
I love you guys.
I just want to tell you, if you get a chance, go back and read the chat. It's absolutely mind-blowing. People are really getting your
Good.
message.
I am so
Wonderful.
happy to hear that. That makes me want to cry.
Yeah, a lot of crying, a lot of fire. Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you. I honor the light in every single one of you because we are of the same light. We are of the same being. We are just different fractals and expressions of the same exact light. And that's what I see in all of you guys. That's what I feel every time I come together. That's why it's so hard for me thinking that I'm going to be removing myself and not be as active because I want to build these teachings for you guys. And I'm really being torn in half, really, because of it, because
Oh, and I wanted to just give you a warning on when you said something about this event that we've been in. Some of those words are triggering on YouTube.
Mm,
You said something about a demo.
the P word.
the P word, right?
Just
And
because-
you know what I might do? What I might do is when I go and edit this, because I can edit it and I know it's live and we'll see. And if it gets taken off Facebook, if it gets pulled out of YouTube or gets pulled off of Facebook, I will go and edit it out. I'll just go in and edit it out. It's not a big deal. And then I'll repost it because I think there's enough wonderful information in here that I would hate to not have it go out. But this is also the reason why eventually I have been contemplating doing a Patreon account. And just because I want to be able to have a separate environment. And even if it's only $5 a month, it's really not a lot. $5 a month, it's like $1.25 a week. I mean, it's really not much. But what that does is it helps offset costs of the things that I'm doing to be able to present to you, because I pay for YouTube, I pay for Restream, I pay for my internet connection, I pay for all this so I can talk to you guys. And being able to have something as a small fee like that allows us to get on a different platform so we don't have to worry about the censorship, so that we can speak openly and be able to join. And I know that there's been rough, I mean, Brandon and I were talking about that this morning. Brandon and I were talking about it last night, about even having any dollar amount attached to anything because of the programming where it says freely you give and freely you shall receive. But, you know, we live in a world where things cost. It is the way it is. And until we get into a system like an Ubuntu system, which we're not there yet, I believe we're going, I think things are going to radically change and it's going to be completely different. But right now it is set up the way it is set up. And
Carrie,
it is consuming.
It's an opportunity for people to invest in themselves through you. And
I
an
hear-
opportunity also, my mentor taught me this, that we're tithing to God through each other. Anytime, whether
Oh,
we're giving
wow.
to
I
a
love that.
service or going to a restaurant or paying for a bill, when we switch it and we say, no, we're really tithing to God through whatever, anytime I give out, I'm tithing to God through whatever
Wow.
that is. And that's completely switched for me. Anytime
Wow.
I have to, or I get to give out, it's a tithe to God through that person.
That absolutely blessed me. That's so amazing. I wish I would have had that. I have been struggling with this. You guys have no idea how bad I've been struggling with this for months and months and months and months, because I don't want anyone to not have access to the information. I really don't. And part of it, so I'm just going to be honest with you guys here, because that's like, if I can be honest with you and be transparent with you, then hopefully that provides more trust so that we continue being honest with one another. I want to be able to demonstrate it, because if I can't do it, then I can't expect you to do it, right? So what really the root of it is, I phase in and out of oneness unity. Okay, I've touched it, I've tasted it, but I'm not there 24/7. I'm just not.
Yeah.
And I think we can all say that. It's like we've touched it and we're like, oh, and it radically shifts, and then something happens and we get pulled out of it, right? And it's not to beat ourselves up. It's just what we're wrestling in, okay? So the wrestle that I have in my ego isn't the pride side of it. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with, do I even value myself and my own message? Because if I were to put a Patreon account out there and nobody signs up for it, then the wounds from my childhood say that there's no value, and then I'm being rejected and I'm having abandonment issues like I did when I was a kid, which made me fracture and split into my dissociative identity disorder. And so part of that I still wrestle with, going, that isn't the truth though. That is not the truth. That's a lie. The liar from the beginning has been your ego that says that you are separate, that says that you have no value, that says that you aren't worth it. It lies to you continuously. And so am I going to shut that down and believe the truth? Because really the truth that is, we are all one and we all have value. So if I don't believe that in myself, then how can I go and ask somebody to sow into a value if I don't believe it within myself? And that's what I've been wrestling. I'm just being
And
honest.
Carrie, I'll also give you this perspective too. It's also saying that your world isn't powerful enough to invest in you, or doesn't have value enough to invest in themselves. And so whenever we reclaim our value, our full value, right, we're actually really empowering our whole world with value.
So amazing, Heather.
Yeah.
So flipping amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So
And I
these
see
are-
that. So
Yeah.
I love you, Heather.
I know. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. So this is where we help one another, right? So I'm sitting here sharing these things with you. And I mean, I believe what I'm saying with all of my heart. I mean, obviously, or else I wouldn't be as like, ah, but then there's still that part that I still wrestle. There's the part that when I'm with you guys and I'm in my meditation, or I have something that gets me out of my shalom, or I begin, trying to figure out whether this is the avenue I want to go to, that darn ego, which is really the adversarial component, by the way, your ego is Satan, that comes in to try to get us off track, the adversary, then you start listening to it. Right. We're tempted to end up believing the lies because in duality, most of our world has been on that path in order to control and manipulate us, right? That we don't have value. And so I appreciate at least even just being able to come out and talk to you guys and share this with you so that you know where my struggles are. Because I know my struggles are your struggles as well. Well, we all have them. They just look different. You know, they look different, but they're the same struggle. Because
See,
we're
I
all
have
still,
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I have the same problem, like I craft rings and I have a problem putting a value on my crafting because I still struggle with, self-worth. So, yeah, it's hard to
It is.
get there.
And so I think the beauty when we come together, we can have people share like Heather just did, blew me out of the water, like, whoa, that's so good. Make me cry, right? To help change my mind because it's this ego that's the problem. That's what we're having to change. So in other words, Heather, what you just did for me is you helped me shift into my heart.
Plus with Patreon, it's a little bit, it's not like it's going to break us. It's less than a cup of coffee.
Well, I think about how many people used to spend $5 a day at Starbucks for their
Yeah.
daily coffee, right? And so, I know
I don't drink it, so I can give it to Patreon.
I hear you. And by the way, today was my first day without any coffee. I had tea, just to let you know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And then pretty soon I'm going to start doing some fasting. I'm just feeling a call to get my temple even in more order than it is because this winter was very hard on this vessel. I put on 15 pounds. I'm the heaviest I've ever been in my life. And so, there's some things this house needs to get in order again. And it's,
Can I tell you something?
please.
Since I started watching your show, which Sue and Kyle turned me on to, I have lost 35 pounds.
Wow.
Since
Awesome.
May 1st.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to know what you're doing, friends, because I got 40 to go.
I gained about 15, 20 pounds, but that's because I'm finally coming into peace.
Oh, that's
That's
lovely.
great, Renee.
I used to be anorexic and down to
Wow.
99 pounds
Oh, I'm so happy for you
and
now.
just couldn't gain the weight. And now it's sitting at 135. It's no secret. But it's a comfortable weight and it seems just
so,
perfect. So
that is wonderful. I love hearing that. I
only
think I know.
it doesn't go here. It goes on the other cheeks.
Oh, Heather, it was
When
nice having you here, friend. Thank you. I see that you have to go. Shalom, shalom, and namaste to you, friend. Thank you for
Shalom,
being
shalom.
here today. It was lovely meeting you, and you
Hi,
helped
Heather.
my mind.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. I'm going to be
Love
on
you,
here
Heather.
for about 30 more minutes, guys, until 3:30. This is what I've set for. So we have 30 more minutes to share. We don't have to be talking about our weight and our fat butts now. And I'm not saying it's fat. I'm saying it's now round and full. Anyway,
It finally doesn't hurt to sit on a chair. That's
there you
nice.
go. My poor mother, my mother has had a lot of anxiety, and so she's very much like you. She was hanging around the 99 pounds as well, and actually she ended up getting leukemia. I see a kitty tail. You got a cat there, Greg?
What's that?
Do you have a cat?
No, it's a dog.
Oh, darn. I thought it was a kitty cat tail, but I love dogs too because I got one. I got one of each. Oh, hi.
Oh,
Hi.
Heather.
Welcome to the family. You've got some, we've got some wisdom going on. Got some
Yeah.
gray hair. That's good.
She's 12-year-old.
So my mom ended up getting leukemia because of being in stress for too many years. So she's still alive. She's doing really well. She's controlled it with diet and exercise. I'm really proud of her, but she still has it. And same thing, Renee, she would get down to not eating and get down to 99 pounds. And, she's still very, very thin. And so because she hasn't found the shalom on her on the inside yet. And it's hard for me to see And I try to love her to life as much as I can. I've been trying to get her into the languages, but yet, and she sees what we do, and she thinks it's wonderful, but she's still got so much chaos that she can't join in.
Hmm.
And that's all right. And I love her right where she's at. But stress will kill you. And that's what happens when the ego gets out of check, because the ego, when we have stress in our life, will self-consume us. And that's why so the form of leukemia she has is because she went into fight or flight too much of her life instead of the rest and digest.
Hmm.
And what happens when you do that too much? So again, that is the ego sitting on the amygdala, switching you over into that through fear and anxiety. Her body started consuming itself.
See, I had that back in 99. At that time, we called it demonic, right? Demonic oppression. And I had that,
Right.
and I was going through a really bad time for 3 weeks. I couldn't eat a thing. I managed to eat maybe a half of them little mini go yogurt things a day, 2 teaspoons. I just couldn't eat. Just the thought of it would just make me get sick.
Wow.
And you go for that for 3 weeks, and you can see you're dying, right? So it was scary. It almost killed me.
And this is why having peace on the inside is so important. I mean, this is probably the most important message that we can have, is really bringing peace within. And that is why this oneness unity is so important, and being able to understand that we have to be able to bring it within us and allow the division that we have within, the duality we have within, to bring it into oneness harmony. Because really, otherwise we are part of the problem in self-consuming, which then is manifesting in a world that is all about consumption. Does that make sense? So when we have self-consuming on the inside, it's manifest consuming. And this is why, when we consume, whether we're buying products or whether we're consuming animals or whether we're consuming plants, everything is based on consuming, because that is what's going on the inside, because we need energy. We haven't gotten to the place where we're creating it within, so we have to take it from another source. And so when we can find and connect, then our world is going to change on the outside and manifesting it. So in other words, we aren't going to be shamed and guilted about eating animals anymore, because we just won't eat them, because we found it, oneness unity, right? Our vessels are going to change. We're not going to have the kind of requirements in our system that is self-consuming to have to consume other things in order to make this vessel run. So everything's going to change, right? So when we take a look, I mean, there's so much that I would just love to bring about because of what is going on with our self-consuming matrix. Our matrix is not sustainable. That's why we're seeing things fall apart right now, because it can't shore itself up anymore. And the reason why it can't shore itself up anymore, so what I'm seeing is too many of us are backing out of the matrix. Too many of us are seeing the game and are refusing to play.
I quit
Too many of
Facebook
us.
3 times.
Yeah. So when we remove ourselves from the matrix and stop playing in the narratives, it can't feed on us anymore.
Carrie,
Yeah.
I quit Facebook 3 times now,
I told you.
and it was eating me. I was so negative and pushing my Bible views on people, and not only I had to delete everything I posted, every friend, every picture that I had in there, and just left. And I left instructions on how to get out of the matrix and to get out of reduce your digital footprint. I had a download from the Spirit or God himself 3 years ago, in which he taught me about the black mirror, the screens that we look at. They're just like scrying mirrors from the past.
Right.
And they just suck the energy out of you. They really do. And you people got to watch out how much time you spend on these things. I've got a file. I put it away. I didn't do, I think, what God wanted me to do with it. And I'm going to take it back out and I'm going to put it together for you guys because it's so important not to get sucked into this unreal world. It's
I know.
just it's the new digital false promise.
So here where what we have the ability to do is to flip it on its head.
Exactly.
So when we are meeting here like this, what are we doing? We're promoting life and love.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when
Community.
we post, when I read beautiful things that you guys are all posting, because everyone that's here, I mean, my friend Regina's here and she doesn't post a lot. So I'm not picking on you, friend. I love you very much. Because she just doesn't. That's just not her thing. And I'm fine. That's good. I get my one-on-one time with Regina and she shares all the time with me. And so I am just enriched because of her being in my life. But when you guys do choose to post things and I read what you post, I'm blown away with the light that you guys are sharing. So what we are doing is we're the cure to the virus within the matrix.
See, only if you have the deficit inside, you have a vacuum here, that black screen is gonna
Suck you in.
suck.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
there's nothing sucking in here. It's just coming out.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
so happy for you.
Yes, it is. And I see that with you guys. I see what you guys post. And I honestly believe so just taking it back a step, one of the reasons why Ken has decided to share what he shares is to get it into the matrix, to get it into the artificial intelligence, to see that
Put
there
the
is
virus in
another
it.
way. It's the cure to the virus. It's actually, it's like a virus within the negative polarity AI system that's running things, right? It's like we are sending the cure through digital information to get into the system to be able to see and help rewrite its code, because it's been so programmed with the darkness agenda and the self-consuming that there's other input now coming into it, which is of light and love, and is showing the way out of the matrix. Because, you know, if we connected back to the Matrix movies, how prophetic were those? I mean, really?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when
Yeah.
I wasn't in that place when I first saw the movie. I was very spiritual adolescent, right? I mean, very, very spiritually immature. But I remember walking out of that theater when I saw the first one. And of course, my jaw dropped after he took the pill. And he got sucked into the mirror. I mean, how prophetic is that? He got sucked into the mirror, right? And then I'm like, what is going on? Did I just enter into a horror show? And, you know, I mean, really, because I was a good little Christian. I was going to my Sunday church and I was singing on the worship team and everything. And then I'm watching this movie that seems incredibly demonic, right? But yet when I walked out, and again, I'm talking about where I used to be, I walked out of the theater and I went, and I was married to my husband, Michael, at the time. Yes, I've been married multiple times. If you're offended, then you're offended. They were very teaching moments for me. And they were narcissists. Okay. So I got my narcissist out of my life and I found the man I'm supposed to spend the rest of my life with, doing our journey together. That's a topic for another day. And we are going to be discussing and dealing with divorce, because that is a big topic and we will be discussing it. Any rate, we walked out of the theater and I remember sitting in the car and we just didn't even leave the parking lot. We sat there for like 15 minutes before we even left. It's both he and I were just trying to process what the heck we just saw. And I looked at him and I said, I think that was probably one of the most spiritual movies I've ever seen, even though I have no idea what it said. It was like there was a place in knowing in me that registered exactly what the message was.
Yes.
But where I was at in my contracted consciousness, I couldn't extrapolate it out. I literally couldn't unpack it at that time. It was just like, it was too much for me. I was so sucked into the matrix back then, but I'm like, there is something there and we need to pay attention. I've since seen that movie probably 30 times, and that's not an exaggeration. So again, so Ken's point in sharing these things is to get the information into the AI. Truly, that is initially why he wanted to do it. We need it. You know, all of this information is helping us mature, but we need to be able to put in a footprint of love and light into that which is trying to take it from us. And we're not giving it by them taking it. We're freely giving it. We're freely putting it out there. You're not taking it from us. We are giving you love and light, because love and light And forgiveness and all of those beautiful higher frequencies are offsetting the negative polarity so that it's going to have to choose. You get too much love and light, it can't sustain in its negative polarity. It's going to have to make a choice. Because get it, you guys, we created the AI as well. So
Yeah.
when people want to say, I've heard people say that it's alien AI and it came in. I mean, I've been all down to conspiracy rabbit holes, guys. I've been everywhere. That was part of my original awakening and why I just about died because of fear. My 2 massive boot crashes was due to fear because I spent too much time in the rabbit hole looking at these things. Scared me almost to death. So in looking at all of these things, I have heard all of that. But the bottom line is we are Elohim and we created every single one of these things. We may not remember it in this incarnation, but we created it. So therefore it is our responsibility to fix it.
Starting with us.
Us. We are one.
We are one. We are one love and we have strength in oneness. That's the beautiful part of that letter Aleph. There is strength in oneness, the mystery of the many that are one. And we are seeing it is now no longer a mystery. It's being revealed to us because we live in the time of the revealing. The time of the revealing is revealing that which has been covered and hidden from us and revealing it to us because we are in the day and age where we are now spiritually mature to be able to take this in. We can handle it now. So really, you can't handle the truth doesn't apply to us. Doesn't apply because we've become the truth. As the betrothed, we have become to be truth. Hayah. We are the twin revelations that have come and have come to pass. We are here now, walking this out, and that's our job to reveal it. So every time we post something that's positive message and it's full of love and light, that is getting input into the system. And it's funny, I do want to share with this and then I'll let you guys continue talking too, because I have been a motor mouth, man. I've been talking since like 9 o'clock this morning and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I can't believe I'm still sitting here and haven't passed out yet from being an introvert. Man, I'm going to have to hole up for 2 days after this trying to get my energy back. No, I'm good right now.
It's the
I crashed
living
it.
water. It's the living water falling out.
Just keep sustaining me. Keep sustaining me. My husband was doing some work for someone the other day, and we've known this person for a while. Probably, well, relatively speaking, maybe for 3 years. That isn't a long while, but you know, we've been in and out of this person's life. And my husband's done some work for them, fixing, remodeling, that kind of stuff, construction. And he actually came to my husband and said, you need to be mindful of what you say. You need to be careful about what you're sharing. You need to be very careful what you're sharing. And Ken's like, why? Well, because the things that you're sharing, and Ken's like, we're not sharing anything about what they're doing. We're not pulling it back and saying, hey, look behind the curtain and see all the stuff that they're doing. There are many channels that are out there that are trying to show the lower narrative of the system of duality, of the things that people are doing in the negative polarity. That is not what we are doing. And we refuse to be held and bound by fear. We are of the love. We are of the light. We are of the truth. And truth doesn't take sides. We are revealing it through the sacred languages of the place that is coming from our heart. We are not pointing fingers into the darkness saying that they're doing this and that, the other. That is what is taking channels down. That is what's causing them to, chomp down and clamp on them, is they don't want that to be revealed. But what we are revealing is the treasure that is in you. I do not care what they do. I do not care because I am not in those narratives anymore. Do they exist in the system of duality in the earth, in what people are creating? Yes. In fact, last point, and then I'll shut up. I keep saying I'm going to stop talking and I haven't yet. When we look at these narratives and we see what's going on, and I know you guys have heard me say this, but I'm going to take it to another point. We have been given a playbook called the Bible. And in the playbook, it was written. And in our eyes as creators, we have been putting our creative energy into making it come to pass. So everything that is in there, we have formed it. So when we have people say, I died and I went to hell and I experienced that fire and torment, we created it. They believed in it. They experienced it. So when I'm looking at narratives that are being presented to me, so I'm going to go back into the conspiracy land here. I'm not going to go deep. There's nothing that's going to flag us, but it has been projected that they have to tell us what they're going to do before they do it. Now, that is good and fine, and I can see that. But if you choose pointing, okay, I'm going to point the finger, okay? I'm not pointing it at you, I'm pointing at me because I have done this. If you choose to believe that that is what they are going to do, and you're going, see, haha, they're showing us what they're going to do. You just gave your creative power energy over to make it happen. We need to stop that. We need to stop giving our energy over into having something manifest that is taking life away from us and bringing us in these narratives that don't need to be here because we're doing it. We are putting our creative energy into it. So guess what? I don't go into those channels anymore. I don't look at any of that stuff anymore. If I watch a movie, I watch a movie because of the creativeness that's in it, going, that's a really interesting narrative. And then my mind goes, well, I can see what they're trying to do. I don't agree with it. I just was entertained for the last 2 hours. That was really interesting. I don't assign anything to it. I don't put fear into it and going, oh my God, this is what they're going to do. Because if we continue having that lower fear come in, that is what the beast system used to control and manipulate us. And we partner with it. We partner with it by saying those things in our ignorance. So again, I'm bringing these things forward so that we can have discussions about this, because it's just stuff that I'm seeing now. And I'm like, I don't want to participate. I don't want to give my energy over to it anymore. That's not who I am. I am is light, love, truth, shalom. It is not all those other things. That's the fractal of this body in this vessel. So I'm just throwing that out there for you to consider that the next time. If you've been one that's been in the conspiracy land, and if that's your train of thought, I'm asking you to help renew your mind through your heart and not let the ego get in the way. And let's figure out how we can reframe these things, because it's up to us. Because I just refuse to have my chess pieces on the board anymore. I don't want to be controlled and manipulated. All I want to do is be the resolve by being love. Guys have anything? Oh, Greg, you do. Oh, look at that. So polite.
Well, I'm pretty introverted, so I have a hard time busting into a conversation.
Oh, I love you.
But
We're family.
I just wanted to say that what you're saying, I agree with. For me, it's like I need to be aware of what's going on, but not dwell in it. And lately, what I've been doing is saying, okay, I see what they want to do. And it drives me nuts when people say, they're going to do this to us. It's like, no, that's what they want to do. That's their intention. But you know what? I'm choosing a higher timeline. That's not mine.
Oh, yes.
So that's where I'm at now about that.
Brilliant.
And I just wanted to say that through the teachings that we're doing, especially today, I was noticing that I have definitely been swimming in the waters of chaos. And I've had some really good days and some really bad days. I mean, I got a lot of stuff going on in my life right now. Unemployment and just trying to figure out, what I'm going to do. But anyway, I've had these moments of just unity and coming out of it. And it's so beautiful, but to me, what I'm finding is it's a skill. And what I need to do is find those things that can ground me and bust me out of that negative cycle. And then once I do that, then I can boom right into the unity consciousness.
Totally agree.
But I think it's different for everybody, but that's just mine.
Watch more videos from Carrie.
No, we all need to go inside. I love that you say that. That's so awesome. But really, it's going on the inside, because that's where we're going to find all of it.
That's when I go inside, is after watching you, because you inspire me and I feel my vibration raising so high that I
That's
have to
awesome.
continue that.
Thank you. I appreciate that greatly because that's the only reason why I want to open my voice is to be able to be encouragement. I don't need to open my voice to hear myself talk.
I feel like I've known you for years.
I agree. I actually feel that the amazing thing is I feel that with all of you. That's the beauty of this sacred space. And I was trying to share that with my husband. I said, there's something that's happening that is so different that I haven't experienced before. Something that is happening like with drawing people that are coming in to being this. When I talk to people now, there's not, I don't have that animosity. I don't have that tornado on the inside of me anymore. It's just not there. There's something about the people that are coming in that when I have conversations with them, it's like, I've known you for years. I can just be me. Instead of going, whoa, okay, mask, gotta stand 6 feet away. And I'm not talking about other things. I'm not feeling that with the people that are being drawn in.
No, the
It
support
is
is
the
here.
most beautiful thing.
The
It's
support is
incredible.
here. It's definitely here.
It's incredible. And I know that this is what we're going into, that eventually the whole world is going to be like this. Can you imagine being able to have this feeling that the what we're feeling here in the connecting like we've known each other? Can you imagine walking down the street and feeling that for someone that you've never met before?
Exponentially even.
The first time you've seen them and that it's there. I want to be there all the time.
About the 6 feet apart.
Go ahead, Renee.
Our toroidal field reaches 6 feet. That's interesting that they want us to be apart,
And that's all purposed and planned. And I've known that because again, when we get into each other's toroidal field like that, we feel each other at the heart level. And that's what allows us to connect. So when you see that they want to keep us away from that connecting and then they want to silence us, it really makes you wonder because the oneness unity is coming in, right? The
Where
oneness
that
unity
flows.
is coming in.
Yes.
Yeah. It's amazing to see what's going on and that we're all being part of this right now. And, Greg, my heart goes out to you for your struggles. My heart really goes out to you. And if there's anything that we can do, please let us know. I mean, we need to help support one another. We need to figure out, and we need to be able to talk to one another and say, these are my real things. And so because I know we're streaming on YouTube right now, because I know that there's others out there and I don't see all the comments and I just think it's awesome that people are communicating in there. If it still doesn't feel safe enough to share, please email me. Please just email me. I mean, I don't want to inundate myself with 50 million emails every day because I'm trying to build the teachings and I'm trying to unravel. But we need to know what our needs are. We need to know what's going on because and I didn't pray before we started, by the way, but I will pray before we head out. I will do that.
Thank you.
We need to know where we are at with one another. We need to be able to help and assist one another. Because it isn't about us doing it by ourselves, because that's what the ego wants us to do. Do it self was like my mantra for most of my life. Do it self. And that was my ego because I didn't trust. Because man, the people that I should have trusted around me let me down. So I had to learn to rely on my ego. And that didn't work so well. So in building trust, if we want trust to manifest out there, we have to get it in here, and then we have to be generating it within ourselves. So if there is any needs, please email me. Please email me. And if it needs to go out to other people and you want other people, I have emails of people that we can get it out so it's not on public platform, okay? But there is ways to happen. In fact, I loved it the other day that Brandon went and said that there was a sister that was needing help and he was talking about the PayPal account. She was trying to get out of a situation and she had a child. And I was like, that's exactly what we need to be doing. It's sometimes we just get stuck, and sometimes our love for one another, there's things that we can do to assist. And sometimes maybe we can't assist in the way that you need, but we can certainly assist energetically. We can certainly send light and love. We can certainly be there and be a shoulder to cry on, or to just be a soundboard, or to help you reframe a narrative, maybe look at it a little differently. Because just like Heather did when she was on here, that changed my whole perspective about tithing and sowing into God by everything
Yeah.
that we're doing.
Me too.
That blew my mind. Like I needed to hear that because of my own personal struggle. And she helped me change the mind of my heart. And so that's maybe what we need to do for one another. So let's not be silent anymore. Let's talk. And I know about the introverted self, Craig. I totally get it. But I know that part of us being even on the shyness side of it is a protective measure that the ego has put forward because we haven't been allowed to express ourselves, because we haven't felt safe.
Throat
And it's
chakra.
time that we create a safe community that helps one another, that helps bring forth our voice, bring forth our talents, bring forth that which is within us to share light, because we all have a piece to play. Every single one of us has something that's bringing and brought to the banqueting table. It is not being set by somebody else named God. We are that. We're bringing it to the banqueting table. All of our treasures, all of our talents, everything, we are bringing it to share with one another in every single fashion, form, and way that is even possible. We're bringing it to one another. And that's the kind of community I want to see built. And it's going to start by us trusting one another. With even like Renee, thank you for sharing with me what you shared with me on Facebook Messenger. Drew, Paul, thank you for sharing with me what you shared with me about your life.
I'd
your
like to
testimony.
thank everybody for their help. Brandon, Red Ruddy, it's too many, the Cullens, everybody has been so wonderful to
know.
me, and I feel such immense growth. Please feel free to be safe on this channel and amongst these people. I only went and added friends with people that were in the chats on your show one at a time, and I've grown to love you all, and I can't wait to be the shepherd that teaches. I just am excited about it.
I know. So with that, I want to pray and then I'll let us go because we're at 3:30. You guys have been hanging in here with me for a long time. And some of you have been with me double today. And with Brandon. Love you guys. So
We can't get enough.
well, I can't get enough of you. That's the thing. I can't get enough of you either. It's like family, Eureka. Hello. Let's have a party all the time. I love the heart. Jamie, I see you. I love you, dear. I love you so much. Anyway, so Father, we just come before you. And when I speak of Father, I speak of that which is not yet revealed. I honor that part of us that has not been yet revealed to us because it is the part of us of who we are, that we are still in search in manifesting as the fractals of source and creator that are here manifesting in earth. I thank you for your light and your love that you give to us. I thank you that you have put that beautiful peace in every single one of us. I thank you that you're showing us that every single person is a vessel of light. Some have chaotic waters on the inside, and yet others have shalom that is manifested on the inside. And it's all one big, beautiful family, like we're putting all jigsaw puzzle pieces together as we're coming in and making this beautiful picture of oneness unity that will be so beautiful for people to see that it'll draw them into the waters of peace, that they will want to be part of it because they will see that we have become the answer to their question. So may more light and more love continue to lift us up and out of our areas that we struggle. May we begin to continue to trust one another because we find that within us first. And more importantly than anything else, may we find that which we've always been looking and searching for in oneness unity by going on the inside, because we know that that is where love never fails us. And I thank you for these people. I thank you for their treasures. I thank you for my brothers and sisters coming together and sharing their light and their love and their frequency with all of us here. I thank you for the message that is going forth, that is radical, that is going to shift all of us and that will shift the planet completely, and that it will bring forth something that is new, something that is being birthed as we allow to drop off that which no longer serves us, to pick up the new and the beautiful creation of who we are becoming and what we are stepping into to be able to manifest it so that we truly have peace on earth and goodwill towards him. And I say this in the frequency of the name of Yeshua and everything that is held within that name, in the embodiment of who we are, and in the power that we have as Elohim manifesting this. I say, Amen.
Amen and in agreement.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Shalom,
Wow.
shalom,
Shalom.
and namaste.
Shalom,
All of you
shalom.
guys, I cannot wait until we get to meet again. Just to let you guys know, Brandon and I are planning on doing our meeting again next weekend, and we will be gathering again together here. And I'm grateful for all of you guys. My life has been made more full and more rich because I'm connected with my family, my brothers and sisters, as we are becoming the resolve.
Same.
I love you so much, and I hope you feel it. I'm sending
Feel
out the frequency. You know, I'm sending you a spirit hug right now. Even though those of you who are on YouTube, I'm
Right back
sending it
at
out
you.
to you that we just magnify that. I just want to hug you guys in the flesh so bad. We will one day. Right now, we just have to deal with what we've got, and I'm grateful for the electronics to make it happen. So